Welcome back to episode 32 of From the Source podcast. I've said it slightly different because we're in a new space. We're in a new studio, courtesy of Sam, who's moved house, and we've got like our brand new studio space now, which is amazing. So we're going to take you through today our 153-mile run. Because it was unbelievable, one of the best things we've ever done, if not the best thing we've ever done. And B, I think there's probably quite a lot of questions that people had about what we were actually doing, because we kept saying we were doing this thing, but like, how did we actually do it is a different story. So I'll let you start us off with back to the very, very start of like last weekend. What we did.
I mean, we've spoken off camera, obviously, trying not to gone into like work and stuff, and people have like downplayed it, but I'm still buzzing from it as well. So it didn't go to plan straight away. Well, it started off as planned. So we were in a camper van, just the five of us, went to pick the camper van up and all that lot. It was hired and helped like through empowerment and stuff like that. But then we picked that up and we picked all the lads up and then kind of started to make our journey across the motorway. And then there was like an M6 car crash, which I found out was some macro lorry that had just gone over the central reservation.
Oh, is that what it was?
And like everything was all over the motorway. So we took a detour, which then affected our journey. So then we actually ended up getting to Bridlington at like 9:30, was it? 10 o'clock or something?
Yeah, we'd booked a pub stay, haven't we? That was free if you ate there.
Yeah.
And we should have been there at like 8:30. And the pub said if you get there at
I remember this, yeah.
any time after that. I think they said we stopped serving food at 8:20 and we were going to get to this pub stay just outside of Bridlington.
8:37, I remember.
Yeah, at 8:37. And we were like, can you hold it 7 minutes? And they were just like, no.
Yeah.
So, and when you want to say, like, actually, we're doing this run for charity.
Yeah.
And this is going to jeopardize us a bit.
But as we realise that anyone who's not doing the run doesn't really care about the run.
What you're doing, yeah.
Yeah, and that it's for charity. So, yeah, so it was a bit scattered. Got to Bridlington, obviously, we fucked up a bit with the food and the parking. Then went to Morrison's, scrambling around at like 9:30 around Morrison, trying to just get some meats. I had a cinnamon and raisin bagels with chicken and hummus. I picked up the wrong bagels.
Oh, yeah.
And I only realised once I'd paid for them. And
Do you know what the maddest thing about that was? Is that before a marathon or before a big run or a big workout, you're supposed to carb up. So we'd planned to go to the pub for food. We'd obviously got all of our snacks and food and everything for the next day. But we were like, right, just go to the pub, get like the easiest thing. Make sure it's loads of carbs, like a pizza or something like that, pasta. And then maybe have some snacks in the van and then go to bed. We'd got there way later and we went to Morrison's, like Sam said, but when you walk around Morrison's at night and everything's just gone, it was literally that. So one of the lads said, Joe said, I'm going to get a wrap and some chicken and just make like a wrap and chicken breast and that. So we were like, yeah, we'll do that. You got bagels, cinnamon bagels with chicken.
And hummus, because I thought, all right, chicken, hummus, bagels, like that's a bit of protein, quite a lot of carbs or whatever.
And then we all just went on the van after that, in like a car park somewhere, and then just was eating all this stuff, but it was the driest, blandest stuff ever. Like I literally had a big wrap, some chicken and some salad. And when I say salad, I just mean the bag of green leaves.
Yeah.
And that was it. And I just had like 4 of them.
But thinking about it now, that actually makes me laugh and smile. That was actually, I'm so glad we tried to plan it down to a T and cocked it up out of our own hands. And it's actually,
it was funny yeah.
now. You didn't need
because we were all joking, saying, obviously, I mean, you shouldn't be eating this before a big run. Like, it's not going to fill you up. It's not going to be nutritional for you. But we were like, we have to eat this and get to bed ASAP. Because it was, at this point, it was probably like 10 o'clock. And our alarms were set for 2. So we knew that at 2 a.m., one of us was getting out of that van and just running. So we went to bed. I mean, we went to sleep at probably like 11.
Yeah. And then for me, I couldn't sleep because every time someone moved, the whole van shook.
Every time I turned over to get comfy.
And me and you were sleeping on like bunk beds within the van, but like they weren't long enough for my legs. So I was tucked up and everyone was rolling around. And then I woke up in the morning with like such sore knees because I think I was just slept in like the fetus position.
And they were like kids' beds.
Yeah.
They weren't like a proper adult bed. You know, you're in a bunk bed.
Yeah. And I don't even remember my alarm or anyone's alarm going off. All I remember is hearing the sound of the van turning on. Obviously, Joe turned the van on to start the drive. And the next thing I looked out the window and Jamie was just like dressed, stood in the middle of Bridlington town, like hopping up and down. And then we jumped out, got a photo, and that was kind of it then.
Yeah. We knew what we were doing, so obviously we knew that we had like a discussion the night before and obviously leading up to it to say, this is what's going to happen, like 2 a.m. One of us is going to start running from this location, and then they do 5K, and as soon as they've done 5K, there's a transition. But we didn't actually know, like, how is this transition going to work? How are we going to swap the drivers? Like, does the van need to stop, and does the runner need to stop, or, you know? So we basically just worked it out on the day that one person would run, one person would drive, then the runner would swap. So you'd basically, how did we do it? You said when you did 4K, the runner
put his hand up.
He put the hand up, and they had a head torch on, and the headlights were on. It's pitch black, by the way. Like, we're talking, we ran on A roads all the way from Bridlington, which is like the east coast near Scarborough, to Blackpool, which is the northwest, and it's, you know, it's 153 miles away. So we're talking, you're running on A roads all that time. You do 4K, hold your hand up so everyone in the van can see. Yeah, then they've got like 4 minutes left of running, and then at that point, someone sat in the passenger seat, and as soon as that person running says, yeah, at 5, the van door opens, the driver slows down to basically a stop, but it wasn't quite. They jump out, start running. The person who has been running jumps in, and you're buzzing to get back in that van.
Yeah, so it was kind of worked out that was like, number 1 was the runner, number 2 was next on, and number 3 was the driver. So the driver was always number 3 in the line.
Yeah.
So then
and you drive, it wasn't like, we all did 5Ks like until it was done, but the driver just had to be like, I'll drive for 2 runners, I'll drive for 1 runner.
Yeah.
You just drove when you've not driven for a while, you just said, oh, let me drive now.
Yeah, you needed like a 10-15 minute warm-up, 10 minutes. So obviously you just had to give up the driving duties 10 minutes before it was your turn, really.
Yeah.
That's kind of what it turned into. But thinking about it till the end, we're just like, oh yeah, I'll drive. It didn't really matter in the end.
At that point, like, it's 2 a.m, so we did that for like 3-4 hours. So it never got past like 6 a.m. That we just continued doing that. And it was really nice. Like, the roads were quiet. There was no one about on the roads, where we didn't see another car for hours.
Taxis till about 6 a.m.
It was just pitch black. And you got out that van and it was your turn to run. You knew all the boys were in the van watching you, or just resting or driving behind you. And they had the headlights on, you had your head torch on, and it was just so peaceful. You could hear like little animals and insects like in the side of the road. And at that point I was like, this is unbelievable. Like, this is amazing. But at that point, your legs aren't killing.
No, you're laughing and smiling and enjoying it. But yeah, it was fucking pitch black.
And you'd do that 5K, and you'd get back in the van, and you'd be like, we're doing something incredible here. Like, I don't think anyone's ever done that before. I've tried to Google it and YouTube it, Instagram it. People have walked it, cycled it. No one's ever run it in a day. So we've done something there that pretty much no one's ever done before.
Yeah.
And then we did that until about 6 a.m. And then at about 6 a.m, the traffic started to build up on the other side of the road, like flying past us, and on our side of the road behind us. So we've got this big camper van. And when we say camper van, it's like a big motorhome. It sleeps 6 or 7, but really it sleeps 5 men. Just. So there's traffic behind us. People are starting to beep. Obviously, people don't know that we're doing this for charity. And even if they did, they want to get to work or something. So we were all in the van. We basically said, one person was running at the time. We basically said, the next runner, the van's just going to drive 5K in front and we'll wait for you there at the side of the road. And then you just run until you see the van, which worked really well. But obviously, to think that you can drive 5K and pull up at the side of the road on these A roads was a bit optimistic because you can't. Like,
Yeah, it didn't work out like that, did it? Really, it was. You'd pull over at like 4K, but you're the runner thinking, "Oh, they've that's my 5K marker," and you get there and like the runner, we'd got like signals, didn't we? So it was like we'd put like one hand up if we were not
but
going to be
finished.
5K, yeah, and 2 if we were. So you'd get there and think, "Oh, that's 5K," and then you get there and be like, "Oh, it's not. It's 3.5. Got another 1.5 to do."
Because we wanted it to be as fair and as even as possible, so everyone gets the same break or the same time to run, the same distance to run. When we were driving the van, we'd all look at the kind of like, what's it called?
Like the mileometer thing.
The mileage thing.
Yeah.
And you'd track 3 miles and you'd know that just after that 3-mile mark, you need to pull over. And you'd do it. And sometimes the runner would come and be like, I've only done 3K.
Yeah.
And it just wasn't accurate. It wasn't the best way of measuring. We got better at it as time went on. But at first, you know, like we were pulling over at 3K and the runner would come and go, you need to drive because I've only done 3. So then you'd drive again. But then that time you probably went a bit too far. Then the runner would do like 6K. Yeah. But you didn't care because you just did your bit. And my thing in my head was run until you see the van. Forget your watch, even though it's, you know, habit of running is like check your watch every now and again. But I try my best to forget my watch apart from my pace and then just run and don't stop until you see that van. Which was nice, but also hard because at every corner you'd be like, I hope that van's in my sight.
Yeah, I mean, you're running on roads that you didn't even know, so you had no clue where it could possibly be every single time. So yeah, it was good. It was good and bad. But like you said, we did get down to a good-ish system of doing it.
I think probably by midday, like mid-morning, probably like 11 o'clock, we'd nailed it. We were just like in a zone. Like you'd speed down the A roads, not speed, but go relatively fast in a camper van so that you could pull over in a nice safe spot. I mean, say safe spot, it wasn't really a safe spot, was it?
Well,
there was some times where we were literally just in the middle of the road with our hazards on, or just on an embankment that you weren't supposed to drive on.
In a bush, yeah.
In someone's driveway, they'd be kicking off. But you'd get there and then you'd know in 20 minutes the runner's going to come and hopefully they say they've done 5K.
Well, it was a good system because when we were kind of trickling behind the runner at the start or trying to guess the distance, the driver was always kind of the one that getting stung as well because you were trying to eat. So if you're still driving, you obviously can't eat. But when we went ahead 5K, you knew, right, as a driver, I've got 20 minutes to get my food in now. The runner who's next to go out has got 20 minutes to prepare. And we just kept looking in the mirrors. Be like, oh, you know, Joe's just there or Ollie's just there, right? Straight out of the van. And then you're there.
Yeah.
And that's how it just worked well by the end.
Yeah, because then you could relax. There was a few times where we lost the runner. Like, I don't know how it happened, but you'd drive to the next pickup spot or checkpoint and you'd be like, right, we've got 20 minutes now or 15 minutes left. Mm. And then, like, Ollie, I think it was Ollie first. Ollie didn't appear for ages. We were like, where's Ollie?
Not on the petrol station.
Yeah. Oh. And I'd gone for a coffee at the petrol station. Yeah. Like, I was like, yeah, we've got 15 minutes till he'll be here. But for some reason, I didn't track the mileage correctly. So he's run past us and kept going. He's done 8K. I
wish we'd like recorded that bit more because it was kind of like Ollie was running and we'd completely forgot about him. And then it was just 4 lads in a van and this is cool. You pulled into the petrol station, you got out, emptied the bin and stuff, went for a
Got a
Costa,
coffee,
came
just
back
chilling.
in. Like us 3 are just, us 2 were just sat, was it 3? Yeah, 3 of us just sat in the van, just chilling with music on. I was eating. And then you came back in and all of us kind of went, shit, where's Ollie?
And and then we rung Ollie and he was like,
No,
yeah,
before that, we got Joe to get out because he was him next. So Joe to stand on the road, and Joe said, "Oh, I'm next. I'll warm up and stuff. I'll stand on the road." And he stood there for like 10 minutes with his headphones on, just like dancing to music like he does. And then he came back in and was like, "I don't think he's here."
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And then Ollie was at the 8K point,
Yeah, he'd done
so he'd ran an
8K.
extra 3K, just hoping the van would be there.
Because we basically said, you got to keep running until you see that van. But he just ran right past us. I mean, partly my fault because I probably did the mileage wrong, but partly his fault because how can you miss a big camper van that we're always looking for, you know? But anyway,
And then he stood on the side of the road when we got there, and he was like, "What the fuck?"
yeah. And then you'd have other times where like I'd finished my 5K and I'd bang on the door and these cars and lorries flying past and you like peered at the door as if it was like Mother Hubbard or something, just looking out the window. And then I'd be like, wait, there's a lorry coming. And you literally like, we're laughing, but at times I was thinking about it after thinking, all it would have taken is one lorry to just not look. And, like it was dangerous what we did,
Oh, without a doubt.
but
Yeah.
it was the only way to get something like that done. And there's a reason why no one's ever done it is because A, it was hard. B, it was pretty dangerous.
Logistically, yeah. I mean, I remember when near enough Jamie killed me with that back door because Jamie was the only one out of all of us that couldn't drive. So he had like, I don't think he had any sense of like the mirrors and stuff. So he was looking in the mirror in the driver's seat, obviously just sat there. And then I said, "Oh, is it good to go? It's me to turn, get out." And he said, "Yeah, it's good." As I opened that back door, this lorry came past and the air pushed the door back and he went, "Not yet." I was like,
Oh
"Oh,
man.
cool. Yeah, great. Yeah, I could have died." But
Yeah.
yeah, it was just a case of like bumping it up, jumping out, getting on with it.
Yeah.
And you soon like, I mean, when we first started on the maps on the phone, it said like obviously 153 miles to like home, and I was like, "Fuck, it's going to take ages going down in threes." And all of a sudden, I remember us hitting. Joe hit the 100 mile,
Yeah.
and
We
we
were like,
went
right, we've done
under triple
53,
figures,
yeah.
and I was just like, "Shit, we've actually chipped away at it." And then Joe said to me, "Oh, you're now the 100K mark," and I was like, "Shit, we actually are
Yeah. And
getting through it."
yeah. And do you know what it was? Is that the best thing about it, the whole run and the whole day, was that you never felt like you were clock watching. You never felt like you had ages left. You never felt like, oh my God, we've got ages to do this. If anything, it went like too fast.
Mm.
Like all of a sudden you were just thinking, geez, like we're back in 6 hours. Like how have we bashed out like, all this time so far?
Yeah, once we got to Skipton, like which was pretty much Lancashire, isn't it? I was like, "Shit, we're nearly home."
Yeah, like we're on the home stretch
Like I know
now.
these roads now,
Yeah.
so I know pretty much how far we are from home. Then when we hit Preston, like Ribbleton way, I thought, "Fucking hell, we're not even like 20 miles from home."
Yeah.
Like it's not even
That
that far.
that was I think that was the best thing about it was that it was actually fun. And the lads that we were with, obviously, there was me, you, Jamie, Ollie, and Joe, and it just made when you were in that van, like it was just so funny. Like we were laughing, like when you're laughing so much that you can't breathe. Like we were laughing like that. We had the tunes on, the energy was high, and for something so hard, like you know, imagine doing a marathon and then being like, that was the best thing I've ever done. Like the energy was so high. It was so funny. Like no one's ever said that, but we've done 50K each and you've absolutely loved every single second of it.
Yeah, we're running the Ks like on average quicker than what we done. Obviously, ran more than a marathon. We
Yeah.
ran each K quicker than I personally would have ever ran a marathon.
Yeah. Way beyond.
Like,
Yeah.
especially at the start, we're rapid at the start. And it obviously only dropped off a little bit, but then it was a good group to be around because no one was like, "Oh, we said we'd do like 420Ks.
Yeah.
Why didn't you do 420Ks?" But then obviously the hill situation that me and you went through and all the other hills that I went on and everyone else did, there's no way you could have done 420.
No. And
Like,
that's the thing. If you've ever driven that way on the A59, I've don't think I've ever driven that far, but
yeah, and
the
just
hills were a
before
joke.
you carried on, what did you keep saying when we started? We were driving, obviously, the route to Bridlington that we would pretty much run back. And then when we started, you were like, "Oh, the hills and stuff." He said, "Yeah, all we got to do is just fucking bomb it. Just
Yeah, yeah,
bomb it."
yeah, yeah.
And
I
then
was
you
like,
hit.
it's only 5K, but me and Sam hit a hill. So the reason why we were running together was, I think I was finishing my 5K, and then Sam was like, right, how long to go? And I thought I only had like, 400, 500 meters or something.
Yeah, so we pulled the van over.
So we pulled the van over. There was
Yeah.
nowhere safe. Basically, you were like on these horrible, windy hill
It's like
roads.
the Pennines, I think. or
So you
something.
couldn't have stopped the van. So Sam jumped out the van and said, I'll start my 5K whilst you're finishing yours. So if anything, we basically wasted time. It wasn't like a cheat or anything like that. It was
Yeah,
actually
lost
the opposite.
distance, yeah.
We lost time. But Sam was right behind me and we were on these hills. And I was thinking in my head, like, geez, this is hard, but it's going to even out. Like, what goes up must come down. Not that. It wasn't that.
No,
It was up constantly.
it wasn't even like a 2 or 3% incline. Like, I don't even know the percentages, but fucking, it was like it was an
Yeah.
actual hill
It was the worst of the day.
constantly.
by
Remember
far.
those two cyclists that went past? Oh, what did he say?
He said something like, "This isn't a road I'd be running on."
Yeah, and he was sat on like an electric bloody
Yeah, it was like, it's not a nice
trail
road
bike.
to run on this.
Yeah, and we were like, "Oh, good." And I think I wanted to get out the words. We're running from Bridlington to Blackpool, but my lungs physically
Yeah.
couldn't.
That was the only
Like, get it
point in the
out.
whole day where I was like, I might have to ring the van and say, you need to come back and get me here.
Yeah,
Because I remember on that one as well, which is brutal, I hit my 5K and I was like, right, the van's got to be round the corner. And every corner I went round, it just wasn't there. And at one point I went round a corner and when you can see quite far, and I was like, it's literally nowhere. So I've now got to run I think I did 5.6K.
Yeah, of constant hills, and it only like leveled off pretty much at the van, didn't it?
Yeah.
Because I ran past you, and obviously it got flat where I was, and then it went a little bit downhill, and then it was kind of downish.
When we were on
when I got
that,
it.
so we'd agreed you want to be running like a 420 or a 430 or something like that. And that was the one point where I hit like a 6-minute K.
Yeah,
I mean, it all averaged out because I'd actually gone quite fast down a hill as I was coming up that hill. So it evened out, but for like half a K, I was running 6 minutes and I was like, I'm trying to go faster, but my legs won't let me.
and at the time I was looking obviously at your back, thinking I'm finding this tough now. I've obviously just
And you
started
just
my
started, yeah.
5K, and you're obviously just finishing it, but it's actually not going to finish. And I'm obviously my legs were pumped
Yeah.
when I ran past you, and I thought, fucking hell,
It was the
I still
worst.
got like 4K left to do here.
But then, so even that, so like I remember in my head thinking, I'm going to ring the van in a minute. Like I had my phone in my pouch. I was like, I'm going to ring the van, tell them to come back because it's beyond a joke now. And then you don't because you're just like, oh, well, I'm keeping going. And then I kept going and I got back in the van and I just wanted to like die. And you get back in the van and everyone's buzzing like, I can't believe you've smashed that hill. That's
Yeah.
unreal. And you were like, yeah, you know what? Yeah. And then someone was like, who's driving? And I think I was like, I'll jump in the driver's seat.
Yeah,
Because
and
you're so high on that energy. You've even just forgot 10 seconds ago you were wanting to cry.
and then you drive past the runner, and then you like cheer the runner on, and it's like, oh,
Yeah.
the runner's like, oh, I'll see you in 5K. What I was thinking about and finding funny at the time, not of that run, but all the ones I was driving, was thinking, shit, we're going up the hill in this van, thinking the runner's behind and they've still got to do all of that on their own.
Yeah. And 5K is long. Like when I was driving and I was looking at the mileage meter thing, I'd be driving and we'd be going at 50 miles an hour, 60 miles an hour at times, and you'd be bombing it and you'd be like watching the mileage and it's just going dead slow, thinking they've got to run all this. Like,
Yeah, it was still like 6-7 minutes in the car.
yeah. and then you wait there, and before you know it, the runner's there, and someone else is like, "Right, I'll see you later."
Yeah.
And I think we did that for 15 hours, pretty much, and it sounds like crazy, or it sounds even boring, but it was the best thing I've ever done in my life.
No, I honestly, I thought it was class.
I was just like, the fact that we're doing this, and I kept having moments in the day where I'd be like, looking at what we're doing, thinking, no one's ever done this. No one's hired a camper van and ran from the one side of the country to the other in a team and actually loved it, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, like, there's obviously peaks and troughs in there, but God, the good bits definitely outweighed the bad bits for me.
Yeah. And you'd get back in the van, you'd have to refuel. That was probably a low for me because I was like,
Minging on it then.
I mean, it started off nice in the morning. Like I had some pastries from Lidl that kept me going, had them. And then after that, because I don't know what it is about running, it's really hard to refuel. I had gels, but who wants a gel at 3 a.m.? You don't really
Just
want to eat
minging.
anything at 3 a.m. So then when it got to the morning, you're eating like squares bars, snack bars, cereal bars, but you need some substantial food.
And there comes a point where you actually have to eat actual food. So obviously there was like chicken and rice flying about, tuna pasta and all that lot, but you're not eating enough to like get rid of the hunger.
Yeah.
You're getting
And
enough to like fuel
do you
yourself for
not think
5K, 5K.
do you not think you just didn't have time? Because yeah, we worked out basically if everyone runs a 420 kilometer pace for 5K, you'd finish in 22 minutes around. And then if you finished in 22 minutes, everyone would have an 80-minute break. But you didn't have an 80-minute break because you had to finish your run, and that 80 minutes starts there. Let's say you need to go to the toilet, which you probably would need to go. You need to cool down because you've just run a 22-minute 5K. And then you need to refuel, and then you need to drive. So the actual bit of time that you were resting was like,
And warm up for the next
yeah,
one at the end
it
of
was
it.
nothing, was it?
Yeah, but at the start, I think the adrenaline, I was like buzzing, eating the snacky food, but probably from like halfway onwards, you know, I was actually getting proper lazy with like the food, with the stretching, with the warming up. I just thought by the end I didn't warm up at all. I was like, my body's fucked anyway, it
Yeah,
doesn't really matter. Like we're pretty much home, even though we weren't.
yeah,
I
you
wasn't
get,
eating as much.
yeah,
I was eating like fucking I had a whole pack of Haribos on the
yeah,
last
that's it.
few runs, and I was just like, I'm not arsed anymore.
I mean, it got to that point though where if all you can manage, all you can eat is that bag of Haribos, then it's better than nothing.
Yeah.
Like I had a few gels. I was good at electrolytes, and we had like this Celtic sea salt that someone had given us to say like put that in water. So basically, we started off after every run, we'd all get a little teaspoon of Celtic salt, put it in some water, swirl it around, and just shot it.
Yeah, minging.
And it was minging, but basically that was like having an electrolyte, but it was quicker, like quicker to get into your system. We started off doing that, and by the end, we were like, "Sack that! I'm not having that. Give me the Haribos. Give me a squares bar."
Yeah. I came back
Um,
in for my run and like all the kitchen floor was just covered in Celtic sea salt because it
yeah,
had like fallen off when someone was driving and stuff. So that was everywhere. So that had gone. Like
yeah,
electrolyte tablets just been used. Like the
yeah. You
gels
can
were kind
only,
of like people were like, "Oh, can't be arsed with gel," because it was like fucking your stomach up and everything.
yeah, it's horrible.
So then you can't be arsed with your meals. So then you just resort to like chocolate squares bars,
And it was
Haribos.
weird because you were hungry, but you weren't hungry. Like you knew you were hungry because you're burning so many calories, and you've also not eaten much. But at the same time, you you're not hungry because you just don't feel like you can eat.
No.
And I think you knew you had to run a fast 5K. And who wants to run a fast 5K after like a bowl of pasta? So it was. I think nutrition's really hard with running.
Yeah, I think I was finding it hard because I just wanted to get back in the bus and someone was going to stretch me out and someone was going to feed me. by the end of it, you're so tired that you're just like, I don't want to think about that anymore.
Yeah.
You know, because you're like you said, you've got to drive, so that's you've obviously got to concentrate, don't kill anyone, and you were getting out of that, and you were like, can't be arsed stretching.
Yeah, like, if you finish your run and you needed the toilet, so you've done that, then you've come out, you need to basically, like, get your stuff off and, like, get ready and get your next stuff ready or take your shoes off, and then you need to get your food out, eat your food, digest the food, and then by the time you've done all that, I mean, you need to drive the car again. So it just wasn't enough, but we got it done. I mean, it wasn't like a problem on the day really. It was just looking back at it, it's quite a difficult thing to manage, I think. But um, I think for us, the hardest thing was we had like massage guns and stuff like that, but probably towards the second half of the runs, your calves and your quads and everything was just hurting. But because you got that break, you kind of forgot about the pain. And I think as you started your next run, it just hit you, and you'd be running and you'd be like, how can I run this, 4:20, 4:30? I mean, at the end, we dropped off because you kind of just couldn't hold that. I mean, some of the lads did, to be fair. But you play to your strengths, I guess,
I think probably the dropping off as well. We dropped off because I think because we went so hard at the start, it got us loads of time for the end.
Yeah, it did.
So like once we knew we were going to be well before daylight, like sunset went down, we were, we finished it before 6 o'clock. Sunset was like 8:30, wasn't it, or something?
Yeah.
So we knew we were home and dry. That you could afford a little bit for the pace to slacken off, and like you said, the breaks in between the runs were helping my legs obviously to relax them. The Theragun wasn't really hitting it at all. The rest was just enough. So when I started the run, the first 2K hurt. The second, like 2K-ish, 3K was all right, and then you're back in the van. So you kind of, it was weird. I can't really describe that bit. I was just kind of, van in, little rest.
You were conditioned at that point to just do it. I remember towards the end, two of the lads, Ollie and Jamie, I was like, right, we've all got 9K left basically to run. If we all do 9K, we've done. We've not done. We get to the meeting point where some people are going to meet and run with us, and then they were like, wow, I'm just going to bust the 9K out now. So they did the 9K and 9K, and then the other three, which was me and Sam and Joe, said, well, I'll do a 5 and like normal, and then a 4. That's way better than doing a 9 because my legs aren't going to handle it. And we all said that. And I did a 5K through Preston, and I remember doing it, and it was the best bit of the day because there was so many people in cars. And when you're running and you're like, I mean, the van at one point, the van was driving through Preston at the same speed I was, just because there was traffic, and everyone was like beeping and some people were waving, and I was like, this is cool. But at that point, my legs were killing, but I'd kind of pushed through the pain barrier, and like I was running my 4:20s, even though my legs were killing, and I was like, this is cool because now I don't care about the pain anymore.
Yeah.
It's not slowing me down.
Yeah. And like we said before, I probably wished I'd have done 9K because of that stop-start, and then going back for the 4 again was just, I just regretted not doing it.
I forgot to mention this, but can we just talk about, so we've done this mad run, 153 miles. We knew it was coming. It's been planned for ages. We've got everything ready. What Sam forgot? His Garmin charger. So my Garmin lasts ages. Sam's obviously doesn't, or he's not charged it.
I didn't charge it.
So he thought he's got his charger, he's not. So he did the first maybe 4 or 5 runs.
I'll have to check my Garmin because I've not actually recharged it to upload it. But yeah, I probably would have said 5 maybe.
Yeah, probably the first half of his runs, he's done it. And then one run I came back and he went, give me your watch. And I was like, what do you mean? He went, give me your watch, because he was always after me. And he was like, give me your watch because I've not got my Garmin. It's run out of battery." And I was like, "Are you kidding?" So I gave him my watch because then I could have just obviously put on Strava Sam's run.
That was funny. I just remembered that bit actually because you were running down that A road, and we were doing the
Yeah.
signs. You were giving me all the signs, and then you had your hat on and your glasses, and I was like this, and you were like telling me the time of what
Yeah, I
you
was
were
like, "Yeah, I
running.
did it in 22."
Yeah, and I was like, no, your fucking watch. I need your watch. And he
Yeah.
was like, oh, I just need to save it. And I'm like, just give me your fucking watch.
So I gave him the watch, then I put it on Strava like Sam's run.
Which,
then
by the way, is different to my watch. I didn't know how to fucking work it.
Yeah, it's hard.
All the buttons are in different places.
So
Oh.
we've done that, and I'm like, right, we'll just do that. But then on the next run, obviously, I've got my watch back. And on the run after that, so Sam's second run on my watch, he just forgot to ask for the watch. I forgot to give it him. So he's done it with no watch. But he was already doing it with no headphones. So I already thought that's pretty crazy. Like, I need music or something on to get me in the zone. He was already just raw dogging it. Then he's doing it without a watch, and he carried on doing it without a watch for the next finishing run. So he's basically done
I reckon
25K.
Yeah, I reckon it was probably about 25K no watch, 55K-ish, whatever it was, 53 or whatever, no headphones.
He's done
Everyone
the
else
whole
did it with
thing.
headphones on and watches and everything.
Sam's done Bridlington to Blackpool, raw dogged. He's done it, no headphones.
I don't know how the fuck
no
I did
watch.
it. I don't.
Didn't know what pace he was running. Didn't
No.
have any music. He'd just finish his run and be like, yeah, done.
So
And at the end, he was the last runner. So he was the last runner that would take us to the meeting point where some of our friends and family were waiting.
fucking lied to.
And I was like, "Oh, you'll only have about 2K, so it's not a problem. You've actually, it's a bonus for you now because you've only got 2K." And then we were in the car in the van, and we were driving in front of Sam on Sam's route, and I said to Joe, "This is pretty far, this isn't it for 2K?" And he was like, "I think it's 3." And I went, "3?" And he went, 3 miles. So it's 5K. So I've said to Sam, who's got no watch, no headphones, no phone, I've said to Sam, "Oh, you've only got 2K." So his mental state must have been mad when he's just done a 5K. I mean, did it feel like 5K?
What, that last one? No, it did feel longer, but it was my brain, like I was saying, it was just like, oh, it's just round this corner, just round this corner. And we knew the roads, we obviously live round there. And it was just not round that corner.
Yeah.
And the whole time I never had to watch through the whole race pretty much. I was just running as hard as I could on the legs, and I was just running that speed. And if I ran any further, my legs would just fall off. So God knows what pace I was running at. No one ever complained that I was late. So
no, you were always
God knows
within that time period.
So I did my last 5K, which should have been 2, to the meeting point where everyone was cheering like fuck when I got there, thinking, oh, it's my rest now, isn't it? I got there, all these lot like fresh as, well, not some of them, but like especially Ollie and Jamie have not done a lot, fresh as daisies, and everyone wants to run with us, and they were like, right, let's set off. And I was like, fuck's sake.
Yeah, like, as Sam arrived, obviously everyone had been waiting there for him. So 20 minutes later when he's arrived, everyone's like, right, are we going then? And it was 4.5K to the tower.
Which we were lied to. It was meant to be 2.
We thought it was like 2 again. I don't know where this 2 came from. But basically, Sam's done a 5K that he thought was 2. Finished that, and we've always had that break in the van, 80 minutes break. And then we've literally gone, right, are we off then?
I didn't even get 80 seconds.
And then gone, and then you've a 4.5K.
It was slower, that last one was slower, but
I just ran before that, but I got like a 20-minute break. My calves, my legs were killing. Like, honestly, at that last bit, I thought, this is beyond a joke now. This running is crazy on my legs. And I can't imagine what yours were like.
My calves, feet, whatever, were absolutely fine pretty much through the whole thing, apart from that bad hill we did. But it was my quads were like, I could feel cramp coming.
Yeah.
And I just wanted a little break just to like shake them out a bit and then go. But obviously it never happened like that.
But then when you finished, so we ran to the Blackpool Tower, which was the meeting point for everyone to come and see us over the finish line. And that made it 153 miles. So it's like 242 kilometres we've done. which works out about 50 something kilometers each. So we smashed it basically, and we did it in 16 hours, but we thought we were going to do it in over 18. So we actually knocked 2 hours off our time. And I'd worked out that if we run a 420-kilometer pace all the way, nothing goes wrong, we'll get there in 18 hours. But we actually did it faster than that. So we basically smashed it. So that shows really that your runs at the end, even though you didn't track it, were still on target because we'd already worked out what we needed to do.
Yeah, but I mean the runs that we did at the start in the dark
Were
like
fast.
when you got the downhills, like you put your foot down, and I did 2 of my Ks at 3:10s
Yeah,
a K. Obviously, didn't do all of them, but like there was quite a lot of time where I was under 4.
yeah.
So that's all of that adds up, and if you're doing the same and the other 3 are doing the
Yeah,
same,
at the very, very start, we just flew. Especially if you had a downhill. Like I remember saying to everyone, like, if you get a downhill, just bomb it. Because I think when you run downhill, if you let yourself be free and you're not trying to hold back, it's not hard to run that fast. If you're just falling down that hill.
yeah,
But obviously, what goes down comes up, and
yeah,
then
and
you
someone
can
else gets stung
kill
on another
yourself,
run,
you know.
but it works out.
But no, it was huge, and then we finished that run in front of the tower, and everyone was there, and people were cheering us, clapping us. It was amazing, and obviously just that recognition and that feeling of, wow, like, fucking hell, we've just done that thing. Obviously, we did it all for charity, so it's like a double climax that you get. We've done this amazing thing for ourselves, but we've done it for charity, and you get that like double whammy of, I'm really proud of myself here, but I'm also really proud of what we've done for this amazing place, you know.
It was a surreal moment. I remember saying to you on the run back in, I was like, I feel not like emotional, but not like I was going to cry, but like you didn't really know what to think.
Yeah.
Like you just get to the tower and everyone was just like there and cheering and everyone wants to come over and like congratulate and stuff. And you're just like, wow, what the fuck's going
It's
on?
weird, isn't it? Because in a way, it was that good. You didn't want it to end, but you did because you were in that much pain. Like, if anyone's ever done a marathon, you know the pain that hits you. People call it the wall or the pain cave. Like, it hits you and you just want it to be over. But then at the same time, that was probably one of the best days I've ever had, because what we've done is something that sounds stupid to say, you know. Like, we've ran across the country in a camper van together, but we've done it as mates. And I think the best thing about that run was that we were raising money for men's mental health charity.
Mm.
And to do that, I've spent the day with a group of lads doing this amazing thing, which has actually like been one of the best days of my whole life.
And it actually has helped your mental health.
Yeah, and it was so fun.
Mm.
And it basically showed that, I mean, we're going to make a video of it and hopefully put it on YouTube, but it shows you that being around people and like chatting, laughing, singing, joking, just sitting together and being in that pain cave together is like really good for you, you know. Like we were laughing so much on that day,
Yeah.
even though we're doing the hardest thing probably we've ever done.
Oh, yeah, you're in pain, but you don't know why you're laughing. And like, I don't know, it's contagious.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. And I think doing it for that charity just was so, what's the word? Like, it just fit together, because we're raising money for men's mental health charity, empowerment at Elliot's place, but we're doing something as lads together, just us 5. And I think if you'd have got other people involved, like, you know, if we'd have got like coach drivers or a minibus driver or friends and family coming to help us along, like, yeah, that would have been great. It would have made our life easier, but it wouldn't have been as good as it was just us 5.
No, because it would have just been a run then, wouldn't it? You wouldn't have anything else to think about. You'd have just ran, and you might have got bored. You don't know, but I think doing it all, the driving, the eating, looking like shit breaking and
Yeah, like
all
you,
that-
I mean,
all the stuff.
to put it in perspective, us 5 aren't the best friends that have ever lived. Like, we know each other, we do the podcast together, so we're mates. Jamie and Ollie, they're really good mates. I know them through school. Then there's Joe, who I know from like school and just growing up. But none of us are like best mates as a group. So we've come together to do this thing, and then like we're getting to know each other and having a laugh together and actually like making friends. But then 3 hours time, you're clearing out people's shit.
Yeah, I know.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
That's true fucking
these
bonding.
lads, like, we don't even know them, and then
Yeah,
you're emptying a bucket of shit.
yeah. I'd not even been to the toilet yet, and I got the short straw.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just, I don't know. It's just good crack. It
Yeah.
was just good. It was just genuinely like, looking back on it, the amount of parts of it that I didn't have a lot of fun in were minimal. Really.
Yeah. It was only when you were on your own, and it's like I bet there's a, like a metaphorical or parable or like a story here, like a moral of the story, but the parts of the run that I didn't enjoy were the parts that I was on my own. Like, not all the time. Like, I loved being on my own some of them times, but the real parts that were tough were the parts where I was battling this run by myself. And when I was in that van with the rest of the lads, that was the best bit.
Yeah, it didn't matter, did it? Yeah,
It was like well worth it.
Yeah.
Worth the pain.
Yeah, I found the runs on my own hard in certain bits, obviously because of the hills and the run was quick and everything else, but just not knowing where you were, like, that was like my little bit of torture.
Yeah.
Thinking like, just round this corner, just
Not
round this
knowing
corner,
where the
just round
van
this
is.
corner, yeah.
Not even knowing where you are.
Yeah,
know?
I don't know if it didn't help, obviously, because I had no headphones, but I had nothing to distract myself. I just had cars going past, beeping, saying like, "What the fuck are you doing?" Like all that lot. I'm thinking, what do you mean? What am I doing? Like,
I'm running to Blackpool.
yeah, like, are you lost all the time?
Yeah.
But those were the hardest bits. But then as soon as you got in that van, or as soon as you saw that person stood outside the van, you were like, amazing.
Yeah.
Got back in the van, good run, that, well done, like whatever, carry on, next one. And you didn't really have that like time to be sore and down.
No,
because
you didn't.
everyone else was the same. And you didn't want to, everyone was saying, "Oh, I've got sore calves." It's like, "Oh, so have I." Like,
Yeah.
Doesn't
It
matter.
wasn't like a thing where you never wanted to say, "I don't think I can do this next one."
No one said that. I thought
No,
that.
no
I
one
can't
said
remember
it.
who asked me about that. We all thought it on that
Yeah.
hill, but I actually never got in and thought, I can't do the next one.
Like, I remember in my head going like this is so hard. Like, it's the hardest thing. Like, but there wasn't ever a time where we were like, I don't think I can get this next one done. Like, I need another break. And I thought that leading up to it, many of us would cramp up. Many of us would say, "Can you go next? Because I need another 20 minutes."
I was obviously we trained for it together and stuff, some of it, but like my training on my own that I did for it, I was so like conscious and like paranoid that I didn't want to be the one that said,
I can't.
I can't. Can you jump in and can you do my 5K and then I'll do yours or whatever? I was so paranoid about that. So when I was training, I was like, don't stop. So when it came to it, I felt like rapid on some of them. And I never got back in and thought, "Oh, Connor, can you just do mine?"
And that's the beauty of it when you're doing things with people or you're doing it for a reason, is that it's bigger than you. Like, I kept thinking, this is way bigger than me. Like, I'm not running for myself. I'm not doing this for myself. I'm doing it for the charity, and I'm doing it for the lads in the van because they're doing it for me. Do you know what I mean? Like, if they were to give up, then that would say to me, all right, I can give up. But if no one gives up and you're in it together, like, then we do this, all of it,
Well, it is, that would be contagious to everyone. Because if you stop once, it's like, oh, thank God for that. Connor stopped first, so it allows me to at least stop once now. And then you think, oh, well, I've done it once, I might as well just do it twice.
Yeah.
And then before you know it, the whole order has changed around.
And then you start fucking yourself over because now it's hurting you more.
Yeah, now it's, and
someone's had to go twice and someone's had to go 3 times in a row.
And once you realise that the run was always going to be hard, it was always going to be hurting, and we're all in it the same way, you just get on with it.
Yeah.
Like,
That's why the van was so good and not like a big coach or something. Like we were having ideas at the start, like, should we get a big coach, like a big bus? But the van, because it was so close, like you were literally sat, like on each other almost, Everyone was like, "Oh, have you seen my trainers? Like, have you seen my hat?" Everyone was sat on everyone's stuff, and you were so close together that you literally like, like if you had a twitch in your calf, like I could see it,
mhm.
you know. I'd say to people like, "Do you want this? Do you want some of these? Do you want some nuts? Do you want some sweets?" Like you're just so together. You're a unit. You're a team. That when you are hurting, you're hurting together. You've done the exact same thing.
Yeah,
No one's done more than the other.
it was class. Yeah, me and Joe were laughing about like when he was driving, I was sat there. It was like fucking like Max and Paddy sketch, and
Yeah,
like we're
yeah,
all in the back, and like there's just shit. Like, say I'm driving, you're sat there, and then you can, if the camera was looking all the way through the van, there's like bottles and shit
yeah.
falling off the
Because in
kitchen
the van you
side.
turn left,
Yeah,
and everything would just fall out.
and then we got a system of like, because when you drive a car, you just get in, everyone knows you're in, and you just set off. Whereas in the van, if like say one of us has just gone for a piss and no one knows, you set off, you practically fall out of the toilet, door comes out
Yeah, that
everywhere,
happened quite a lot.
and then you kept announcing it, saying just setting off now, so
Yeah.
everyone could like hold on to something.
Yeah,
It's
you'd
just,
have to.
it
You'd
was
have
stuff
to.
like that. You'd go around the corner and like everything would slide, and you'd be like, oh, bottles, everything, and it was funny.
Yeah, it was
Like,
funny.
it was just,
We only had like a few near crashes and stuff. I mean, 4 lads driving a van. One of us, Jamie, didn't drive, so like he doesn't have a driving license. Not by choice. He just doesn't have a driving license. So 4 of us driving this van, like we're tired, we're exhausted, legs are twitching. Only had like 2 near death crashes, which is
yeah,
probably a really good percentage. That,
yeah. That's probably decent. Yeah, for tired legs.
but no, it was. Got it up there as, if not the best, it's one of the best days I've ever had. It's probably the best thing I've ever done, and I
Yeah.
loved it. And the
Yes.
fact that we did it together, like every individual in that team made it. I wouldn't have traded anyone off for someone else, and I would never have, wanted to do that with anyone else. I just thought the people that we had it with and the people that we did it with were like made it so incredible. And then to do it for charity was like another factor. And like that was on my mind. I was running. I was like, this is tough. I was like, we're doing this to raise money for empowerment in Elliot's place, and that's gonna, that's gonna be the reason why I'm not giving up. But yeah, it was incredible.
Yeah, I would definitely do it again, just not the same route.
Yeah,
I would do a different route, and obviously the distance clearly wasn't an issue.
yeah.
I would definitely do it again.
I think, yeah, something about the way that we did it was so raw, so like, I don't know what the word is, but it's like it's just unplanned. Like you go with the flow, you
Yeah,
know.
it was like the only thing I could probably describe is like an unplanned night out. They're the best nights out.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Like,
Yeah,
we were trying meticulously to plan the run, like me and you logistically, on like, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna set like 5K markers. We know exactly where they are. Blah blah blah. The
yeah,
whole fucking thing. And then we kind of, that crash and everything just threw it out of sync, and then we just kind of just like freeballed it.
yeah. You just literally had to go with
Let's
it.
just get this van from here home, and make sure one of us is always running at the same time. And that's kind of what it was.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and we just made it work. I think that was the thing about the group we were with, was just like, oh, I think we might have to switch the plan. We're gonna do it like this. Is that all right? And everyone was like, yeah, sound.
yeah,
And you just did it.
yeah. There was no one like, oh, I don't want to drive now. I want to have, like, I'm meant to have my rest now. It was kind of like, yeah, sure, I can stretch whilst I'm driving. It was an automatic as well, so you could just stretch whilst you were driving, or I don't know. It just worked.
And even when I said it to like Jamie and Ollie and Joe, even you, and I was like, should we do this thing? Like, I just feel like we should do something like this. And everyone was just like, yeah.
Mm.
Like, none of you went, Don't know. Is that illegal? Like,
Yeah. I was on holiday supping beer when he texted me on a beach.
was
And he
like,
was
I'm
like,
gonna
"Oh,
do this thing. Do you wanna do it? And everyone was just like, yeah, no questions asked. And then probably we met up once to discuss it. I mean, Joe didn't even make it because he lives not close to us, so he was texting us and stuff, but didn't actually make the meeting. And then that was it. And other than that, we sorted a lot of stuff with Mike from Empowerment together. And then the lads just did what they needed to do, training, buying stuff, getting ready. And then after that, it was just a case of, right, I'll see you on the 29th or the 30th, and we'll go.
yeah,
And that was it.
yeah, no questions asked."
So I think that was I wouldn't change anything for the world for that day. I think it was just amazing. And if anyone can ever do something on a scale like that, just like something crazy with your mates for charity or something, do something so that you can actually give something to something that's like maybe close to your heart. I think like something like that can't be beaten.
No.
Something really hard and challenging with your mates for charity, like you can't go wrong there.
Yeah, and this run that we did might be the bug and stuff we get to do something else.
You might go bigger next time.
Yeah, or something the same, just somewhere else, or there's always something, isn't there?
And do you know what was nice? Like to summarize it at the end, the next day we were all texting in our group chat, all the runners, and someone was like, I wish I was back in that van now.
Mm.
And that's so beautiful because it's basically like in that day, we didn't have to worry about anything. We all have stuff going on in our lives. We all have like stress, and we've got, you've just moved house and I'm renovating a house, and like family and partners and relationships and whatever. And for that one day, it just wasn't about anyone else. It was just you and your group mates laughing, joking, and running. And like, that's it. So raw. Madness.
Yeah. No, I would do it again. Really, really loved it. And I can't wait to go back in the gym. And I've been walking around thinking everywhere I walk, people are just going to clap for me. But like, no one gives a shit. But I'm hoping we go in the gym and at least like 2 or 3 people say, like, "Oh, well
yeah,
done,
because
that
a
run."
lot of people at our gym were like, that's incredible,
Yeah.
that's so good.
That's all I'm asking. So anyone watching this, please.
Yeah, it's nice to get the recognition. And obviously, when you do something like that, running far distance on A roads, dangerous, it's nice to raise all that money for charity, but it's also nice for people to be like, geez, that's incredible. Well done.
Yeah.
And all you want is thanks because it was fucking hard.
Yeah, it was fucking well hard at some points.
Yeah.
But, moving on from it, I think it'll definitely help me and hopefully us in the High Rocks. Because like running 8K.
8K is nothing now.
Like if I can run all those 5Ks in the speed I did,
yeah.
like who knows?
Yeah.
I surprised myself with the runs on the obviously the charity run. So
are you going to bin your Garmin off now for the High Rocks? Just run with
yeah,
the feel.
Fucking free ball. I don't know. Yeah, I know what 1K quick feels like. I don't know, but it was good. Like that in itself was good. You had nothing.
Yeah, you were just feeling the running.
I had nothing. It was hard because obviously when it hurts, you want like music or something to look at or something.
Yeah.
Even just something to dick about with. But yeah, bad planning.
Well, we did it, the run, to raise money for a charity which is based in Blackpool. It's called Empowerment. They've got a place called Elliot's Place, which is where men can go if they're struggling with mental health. They can get advice, counselling. They can take part in boxing, snooker, darts, like anything basically. It's pretty much a well-being hub for men, and men's families, and it's really good what they do. So we're going to put a link in the description that tells you a little bit more about it. We've raised 3.6k and our target was 5. So we wanted to raise £5,000. It's just a nice round number, and it was like £1,000 for each person doing it. We've raised 3.6, so we're going to keep the what's it called? The fundraising
Just giving
platform,
page.
Just
yeah.
Giving page open for the next couple of weeks, because we know that people might watch this or find what we've done and donate. So if you're watching this and you can donate anything at all, even if it's £2, then that really helps us go towards our target. We're really proud of everything we've raised so far, but it'd be nice to hit your target. You know, it's nice to get your goal.
I was only laughing because that's all he said. The whole run is like, if like 100 people donate £2,
Yeah, it literally. If we need
that's literally what it is.
1.6,
Yeah,
we need a 1.4. We just need 140 people to put a tenner in. So if you're watching this and you're one of those 140 people, you're going to help us, you know, make such a difference to the charity. But you're helping the world. Like you're literally helping people, strangers you don't even know, have a nicer life and have access to the things that they need. So yeah, if you can donate, we really appreciate it. But thanks for watching. Hope you like the new setup. It's comfy.
yeah.
It's nice.
It's nice. It's more chilled. I'll be asleep. Next episode, probably.
Yeah, probably, because you can slide your chair out.
You can
as
slide
well.
yours out.
Oh,
as
really?
well.
Is it
Yeah,
both do it?
all
Oh, okay.
slides. Yeah. So we'll
Right.
both be asleep next time.
Yeah, we'll both be like tucked up next time. We'll catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching.
See you on the next one.